So the last one on the insurance that we have to work out is the weekly cost of insurance. So it's a public, static as usual, and we're going to return a double. We can work with lots of different numbers, but this we're sticking with double because we may, in the act of division and so forth, end up with the numbers that are not integers. So insurance cost So I've now got that on. I've got the template function on my clipboard. And we now just have to change the values. Now, because of this being the same as insurance, we're still working with my running cost dot period, insurance period, sorry. So we're going to change that there. So that's going to make sure we're working with the right thing. And that's one of the greatest dangers when you're doing this, is you get all mixed up with what you're working with. So let's just fill in these values in a moment. And I'll just pause the video and fill them in for you. So I've filled in the values. So what we've got is we're running cost is coming into us. We get the period. And if it's annual, in order to get the weekly, we divide it by 52. So that's very straightforward there. So if we've got the monthly and we want the weekly, we can't be sure how many weeks are in a month. So what we have to do is we have to take it up to the annual cost by multiplying by 12 and then divide by 52. If we're getting it in as weekly, then we'll return the same value as we got in, because that's what we're looking for, the insurance cost weekly. So that's us now using our template to give us a nice easy way to do things. And then what we'll move on to is we'll move on to the annual costs and so forth. And we'll do that for fuel costs. I think in the last video I copied too much from the function onto my clipboard. I think I'd gone down to that curly brace there. We must be really careful that we only copy from there, from double, down to that semicolon there, which is the return value. So Control C. So I've set up the signature for the fuel cost annual, so very much the same. You're going to do it on an annual cost basis. We're going to do running cost to handle the data. Control V. So instead of my insurance value this time, the period is going to be my running cost dot fuel period. So the next two will have the same as that. So it'll be the same logic as we had for annual up here. So if we're getting it in as annual, then what we're going to do is we're just going to return exactly the same thing as before. So my running cost dot fuel. So if it's coming in as monthly, so it's my running cost dot fuel times 12. And if we're getting in as weekly, so it's going to be my running cost dot fuel times 52 to give us the annual cost. So that's the same thing as before. So we need to do that throughout the others to make sure that we're getting the right values. I'll just do one more in order to let you see that with the monthly. So I'll just pause that and put this in. So let's put it in here. So we'll put the core in there. So we've got that again. It's just the same as before. So if I was a bit more organized, I'd be doing my copying and pasting at different stages so that we don't do less. And so, but I'm not quite that. I'm a bit tired, so I'm not sure what I'm doing at the moment. So we're getting the annual cost, and we want to get the monthly cost. So if we've got the annual, it'll be fuel divided by 12 to give us the monthly cost if we're getting it in as annual. So if we're getting it as monthly and we want to return it as monthly, it's the same value. And if we're getting it in as weekly and we want it as monthly, we have to do a bit of conversion back to yearly, obviously. So my running cost dot fuel times 52 divided by 12. So that will now give us the monthly cost when we're getting it as weekly, and so forth. So what I propose now is that I will just go through and code up the rest of everything for you and then show you it as a complete set. Then what I suggest we do is we create some regions so that we get things and we get everything all nice and neat on the page.